All right, so we have finished the enteral nutrition and parenteral nutrition action plan with its clinical automation, and I'm going to walk you through it. So let's just say we have patient X, and you can put in your name right there. Let's say this patient was born in 2000, who knows? And we can click over today's date, and it'll populate that date right here. Very important. You can say their information is whatever you want. It can be a phone number, it can be a Gmail, who cares? And you, of course, want to put in your clinic contact number. And of course, this is nutrition, so we care about growth, and that vital sign we care about the most is going to be weight. So let's say we put in, for this person, they're going to be 20 kilograms, for instance. Okay, so some automation that's in here, some things to help you out. Let's zoom in a little bit. So based on the age, the plan will automatically tell you which reflux guideline should apply. And so this is one that you can do. It's taken straight from the NASPGHAN CPG Rosen et al. The other thing is, if you click formula options, it'll show you formula options for over age 1 that are FDA approved, broken down like this. Again, we have our weight, and you can hit this button. It's an acro dialog to select feeds. So if your patient is an enterograde aspirator, you could click this and it would make anything that looks like you're feeding them by mouth go away. But let's leave that blank for now. Let's say we just have a simple G tube in place, but let's say we also want to do some other oral sources of calories because they're not exclusively tube fed, and we hit OK. And you can see that we have an older child, and so we get older child photos, and then we get a whole host of other things in here. So the formulas that will populate are going to be all of those that are over the age of 1. So let's go with Kate Farms Peptide 1.5, for instance. So since this is a ready-made liquid feed, you can see that it's 1 carton per serving. And I already put in the kCals per ounce for you. But let's say we're doing something like EleCare Junior, and we're going to be mixing it that way. Here it is, 6 and 7. And so maybe you're a PO gavage type feeder for this kid. So perhaps it would be something like 60 mLs that the patient's going to get every 3 hours. And then maybe they do 30 mLs by tube feed every 3 hours. And again, we're just making this up. Now you can click this button here and it actually displays a pump. If you hit the lower radio button, it changes from a Kangaroo Joey to an Infinity. And I think the important part again is to just show what the rate might be. So if they get that bolus over an hour, you can tell caregiver, hey, this is what it should look like. This is a great place to put in whatever their particular feeding tube is. Maybe it's a 16 French Mickey balloon, and you know, whatever the length is. Last changed, you know, this date, whatever. So then you get down to the bottom here and you see that based on what you've selected and how much you've chosen to give, that is showing what not only their volume taken in, but how much of that is free water, and then how much calories that they're getting. Maybe this kid gets an additional 100 calories by mouth every day, so you can do that. Maybe the child also gets like 100 milliliters more of water flushes throughout the day or something like that. And so you can see how all this updates with you. Now, if you were to give this kid some nighttime feeds, you can see how this tells you that you could do nighttime feeds. So maybe the whole nighttime is going to be 200 mLs, but maybe we run that at 20 mLs an hour. We do it for 10 hours. And again, we could populate that pump and show mom what the rate should be at night. And here we go. If you need to see what the energy reference is for this 22-year-old, you could take a look there. There's also some other fun things in here. We've got lots of drop-down menus and options and stuff like that for different medicines that you might use for these patients. So use that at your leisure. If you click this box here, it just gives you another free text field. Maybe we're on a FODMAP and we're avoiding some trigger, who knows? And you can see we've broken these down into shared symptoms. Because you're tube feeding, we're tolerating tube feeds, 1 soft poop a day versus no poop in 3 days, very hard poops, and so forth. So there might be, you know, constipation, give, I don't know, 10 mLs extra Senna per day, whatever you want. Now, if we go down to page 2, not every patient's going to have this, but this is our parenteral nutrition page, and you can see everything populated from the top. So that's really good. And maybe we're getting something like 100 kcals from parenteral nutrition every day. And let's just say it's a 3-in-1 bag, and you want that rate to be, I don't know, at 50 mLs an hour or whatever it is. You can see that that populates throughout. If you're doing 2 different bags, 2 different pumps, you've got 2 different pumps if you click that checkbox. Now, it's pretty much the same if you're an infant, but let's say that we are dealing with an infant. Oopsie. Oh, put a few too many zeros in there. That's interesting. You can see when we finally get the date right, all the pictures change over to being an infant, which is really good. It's the same thing for the kid with the pick in place. And now we have nothing but infant formulas. So let's say we're doing something like Soothe Pro 26. You can see how the scoops and the amount of water that you should mix in there populates here. And it's the same buttons that apply for pumps and so forth, the same equations that come. But then let's see something fun. If you try and give a baby acid suppression, you should really think about that. And the plan is going to tell you to make sure that you think about that. The reflux guideline is slightly changed. It's the infant one. Formula options are for infants. The select feeds are still these different options. So you could do GJ, and you'll see that this kiddo has the GJ that populates. All right, I know that was a little bit longer. Hopefully it was helpful. Thanks so much for your time.